All right, so we have two really big stories here today. Here with more is a Scripps News contributor and founder of The Warning, Steve Schmidt. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We love to have you. So President Biden is facing a separate battle following Iran's barrage of missiles launched towards Israel, which were shot down with the help from the U.S., a large percentage of those. Biden urged Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not to retaliate and to refrain from further action. What could the consequences for the U.S. be? They have made it very clear that whatever Israel does next, we will not be a part of. But let's say Netanyahu does not listen and decides to strike Iran despite Biden's request. What's at stake for us here?
Well, the world stands at a very, very dangerous hour. And this war that has been a shadow war between the Israelis and the Iranians has taken a giant step into the open. The attack by the Iranians on Israel is unprecedented. It was a large attack. There were more than 300 drones, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles fired. They were all, as you said, shot down, not just by the United States in assistance, but by the United Kingdom, by France, by Jordan. And so Israel right now and the United States has a choice. First strategic question that the Israelis have to face is the reestablishment of deterrence. Before the attack, the Iranians had never attacked Israel from Iranian soil. They have done that. How to reestablish deterrence. At the same time, strategically, this war in Gaza has not gone well for Israel. Israel is diplomatically isolated in the world. There are protests against Israel. Hamas is not destroyed, may not be destroyed, and the country is internally divided. Israel's allies are saying, we want you to show restraint, wait later to settle the account. And so this is a fraught moment. The United States has indicated that we will not be involved in offensive attacks against Iran, but should Israel attack Iran and Iran responds, the United States, once again, like it just did, will defend Israeli airspace. The reprisal from Iran could be a launch of attacks from the north, from Lebanon, 150,000 plus rockets under the command of Hezbollah, 60,000 Israelis already evacuated from the north. That's a much shorter timeline and much likely an attack that is harder for the Israelis to stop and one that could cause actual casualties. So there's a lot on the line in a moment fraught with diplomacy, with the split screen of the Republican nominee and former president's trial for the hush money payment to a porn star. Incredible moment in America.
There's a lot on the line in the Middle East and a lot on the line in that courtroom in Manhattan. My question is that if the narrative right now is that this is the least significant of the four cases, does this do any damage to Trump politically, considering the loyalty and enthusiasm and devotion that define his base?
There's a media narrative that I think is deeply wrong, that has tried to weight which of the four criminal cases is the more severe of the criminal cases. All criminal cases are criminal cases. Now, the political question is, how has this affected Trump? Has this, in the aggregate, these four cases together or apart, have they hurt or helped Trump politically? And I think it's indisputable that thus far, they have helped Donald Trump politically. And so we're about to see something unprecedented. I do think it's important to remember that criminal trials shouldn't have people rooting for outcomes. Donald Trump's a criminal defendant here. He has a presumption of innocence. He's innocent until proven guilty. He must be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The jurors who will be selected have an absolute obligation, a duty to follow the judge's instructions, to understand the American system of jurisprudence here, even if Trump does not, even if he calls for retribution and revenge. So we're watching an incredible moment play out in the world, at home. But this trial Trump wants to turn into a circus, has all the potential to be a circus, but a trial's a trial. And at the end, there's a question that the prosecutor is putting forward. And the prosecutor, district attorney in Manhattan, has to prove this case. And we'll see what the case is as it plays out over these next weeks. But nobody in their right mind would say that this is anything but a very serious affair for the former president, because in the end of this trial, he could be incarcerated.
And really quick, before I have to let you go, what would be your message to that person sitting at home watching this trial unfold and his future trials potentially, who may be undecided right now and is not sure who they're going to vote for? What is your message to them?
Well, look, I'm somebody who has a lot of conviction about this moment in America, but as you're sitting undecided, what I would say to you is that the entire American system is dependent on both political parties, everyone involved in politics, understanding in the end the people decide the outcome of elections. You can be sad, you can be mad, but you don't start an insurrection. You don't incite a riot. You don't send your people to attack the Capitol, to upend the peaceful transition of power set in motion by George Washington. And that everything you're seeing right now is a push on, is a stress test of this notion, this idea that can government of the people, by the people, for the people, at a moment in time where half the Americans who ever lived are alive right now, 320 million people, can we keep it going? Can we hold to the proposition that there's no person above the law? And so you're going to watch all this play out. Don't watch it with a cynical eye. Watch it with an idealistic eye. These systems, our Constitution, the protections. There's a lot of majesty in what you're saying, even though there's a lot of carnival. And look at it all with eyes wide open and do your duty as an American. Vote while being informed and vote your conscience. Do right by your country.
And just so we're clear, in terms of the political mechanics here, can Donald Trump run if he's convicted? The answer is yes. If he's sentenced to prison, can he be elected from prison? As a nation, we don't know. That would have to be decided by federal judges and potentially the Supreme Court. That's where we are.
All right. Scripps News contributor and founder of The Warning, Steve Schmidt. Thank you, as always, for your insight. We'll be right back.
My pleasure.